A new push tonight to dob in a dumper to help clean up the state's waterways. Hundreds, possibly thousands of cars have been dumped in our lakes, rivers and the harbour, causing safety and pollution problems.
There's oils, toxic metals and just a whole pile of pollutants going into the river, as well as it's a very unsafe thing for boaties and for kids that are swimming and so on.
The NRMA says many of the cars have been used for insurance fraud or other organised criminal activities. The state's prison officers are on strike, claiming that not enough is being done to protect them from violent inmates. It means thousands of prisoners will remain locked in their cells until tomorrow morning.
There wasn't a dissenting voice among the state's 3,500 prison officers as they walked off the job over what they see as the legal system's failure to support them. They're outraged over the granting of bail to 2 inmates accused of bashing 3 officers during a riot at Goulburn Jail in April.
The judiciary send these people here for us to look after. We look after them to the best of our abilities, but when we get in trouble, we would ask that the judiciary looks after us a little bit.
The government says new laws are about to remove any presumption of bail for inmates and guarantee they spend more time behind bars for attacking guards.
We are ensuring that a local court can add 6 months to any existing sentence.
But the strike will continue until tomorrow morning. The Prison Officers Association was anxious to assure the public that despite the walkout and a skeleton staff of senior guards, that the state's jails will be secure.
It just means that the inmates stay in their cell. We still have to maintain that the security and the integrity of the jails.
The government has heard the prison officers' complaint and has moved to overcome the problem that I believe did exist.
The new legislation is expected to be passed next week. Adam Walters, National 9 News.
Iraq is claiming that US warplanes have bombed a civilian office complex, killing at least 4 people. It happened in the country's south. American pilots ordered to attack after they apparently came under fire from a gun battery on the site.
Visibly, the damage caused by the airstrikes is the worst in many months. The target was an office block, the headquarters of Iraq's Southern Oil Company. Not much is left of the administration building. Iraq claims this facility had been used to coordinate the country's oil for food program with the United Nations. 4 people were killed, 27 injured, they said. But as Iraqi TV showed a funeral procession, the United States said it hit a military target, not an oil or UN office. Continued retaliation for Iraq shooting at US fighter jets patrolling no-fly zones. Meanwhile, 30 kilometres from Baghdad, UN inspectors went to an abandoned airfield where Iraq admits it had once tested the aerial spraying of deadly chemicals. UN teams had been there before back in 1998, but like then, today they found nothing new, just lots of old helicopters falling apart.
We don't have chemicals here, okay? We don't have pesticides here.
As inspectors tried to find hidden weapons, Iraq recognised Martyrs' Day, remembering its soldiers killed in the 1991 war. Saddam Hussein now has just 7 days to meet the UN's deadline to detail what weapons of mass destruction he has and where they are. In the United States, Michael Usher, National 9 News.
At least 47 people are dead after fire tore through a packed nightclub in Venezuela. Most of the victims dying of smoke inhalation as they rushed to escape the flames. Police are investigating the possibility of arson after witnesses reported gunfire shortly before the fire broke out. Kenya is refusing to turn over evidence to Israel from the site of last week's suicide bombing at that hotel near Mombasa. Both Israel and America are questioning Kenya's ability to track down the killers, the dispute threatening to delay the inquiry. Meanwhile, the funerals continue. 3 of the traditional dancers who died in the explosion were buried overnight, while in Israel, hundreds of mourners turned out to farewell 2 brothers aged 12 and 14. In the weeks since the Bali bombing, we brought you the stories of a number of victims and their brave struggle to recover from their injuries. THERESE Fox had horrific burns. Doctors feared they would lose her. But now they believe she could be home by Christmas.
Therese Fox from Geelong suffered burns to 85% of her body from the Paddy's Bar explosion. Her nursing friend sitting right next door to her died instantly. Somehow, Therese managed to stagger 500 metres to a nearby hotel.
There were 2 Australian girls there who never seen it before, got her on a rug on the grass, put water on her.
She was rushed to Concord Hospital in Sydney. Survival chances were slim.
They said, don't be too hopeful.
So, and now?
Now they're saying, we're aiming to get home at Christmas time.
Intensive treatment, including skin graft surgery, physio and pain management, have helped Therese fight daunting mental and physical pain.
Sure, it's painful, but I'm getting used to it each day and it's getting easier.
Therese and her twin brother, Damien, now turned 30 this Friday.
To get up here and see the progress she's made, just astounded.
21 Bali victims have been treated in New South Wales hospitals. Now those with burns units at Royal North Shore, Concord and the Children's Hospital Westmead will have a major upgrade. Now under the new system, the 3 key burns units will operate under one management system, making responses to crises faster and allowing top staff and even resources to move between hospitals as needed. Meanwhile, Therese's 9 and 7-year-old children will see her Wednesday, the first time since the tragedy occurred.
I've spoken to them once, yeah.
A trust fund has been set up for Therese and her children. Cheryl Taylor, National 9 News.
Ken Sutcliffe with sport is next, and Steve WAUGH will be missing from the one-day side to take on England.
Jimmy couldn't even make it into the 30-man squad for the World Cup next year. Also, Australian golf cops another black eye. And Russia's historic Davis Cup victory.
Coming up, dangerous ovens, exploding without warning at any temperature. Plus, drug-free therapy to beat fears and phobias. And teenage mums back at school teaching the facts of life. A current affair after the news.
Steve WAUGH's international one-day career is officially over, with the Test captain left out of the 30-man squad for next year's World Cup in South Africa. The news comes after Australia easily won the Ashes series with victory in the 3rd Test, needing 271 just to make the Aussies bat again. England was all out for 223.
It's a huddle that's now commonplace in the battle for the Ashes. Last night in Perth, the Aussies wrapped up an 8th successive series against England, and with 2 tests still to play, a 5-0 whitewash seems inevitable.
We're battered, bruised, broken, completely outplayed by a better side.
While Hussain took his frustration out on teammates' crutches, Alex Tudor was feeling much more pain. Dropped by a Brett Lee missile, Tudor was badly cut above the eye. It looked painful then and wasn't much better today. Lee then completed another easy victory with a full toss at Harmison.
I know that England have got some very good players, yeah, and they're just not putting it together as a side. They have had some injuries. They probably haven't had a lot of luck go their way.
As WAUGH celebrated a record-equalling 32nd Test victory, Fleet Street was just like our bowlers and England's throat was in danger. There wasn't a single line that gave some encouragement. Instead, the headlines screamed of embarrassment.
At this stage, it's been a pretty one-sided contest.
Once again, England didn't hand over the original Ashes trophy. Neither WAUGH or Hayden looked impressed with another replica. With the Test series in hibernation until Boxing Day, selectors have named our team for the first 2 one-day internationals against England and Sri Lanka. There are no rookies in Ponting's party. Clinton Fletcher, National 9 News.
It seems right now Australian golf can't take a trick. First we had the farce of the Open, and yesterday the controversial decision to have joint winners of the PGA. Jared Moseley and Peter Lonard were asked to share the title when bad light stopped play after just one sudden death playoff hole.
Playing in a minor Gold Coast event, Peter Lonard appeared relaxed after his shared victory, yet he was in no mood to discuss it.
Not a thing.
Unlike today, more prize money and prestige was at stake at Coolum, where Lonard sent the storm-delayed Australian PGA into a spin after this putt forced a playoff with Jared Moseley.
He's done it. She's not over yet.
After they both halved the first extra hole, first-time PGA Tournament Director Andrew Langford-Jones gave the players 3 options: continue in the dark, come back the next day, or share the title.
Isn't that your job? Yeah, make decisions. You just tell us what to do.
Langford Jones made the split decision to split the title.
Joint champions.
Can't, park cars along the side of the fairway and put spotties on, so that was all we had left, I guess.
At his new course in the Hunter Valley, Greg Norman didn't believe in half measures.
If you're in a playoff, man, I want to win that golf tournament. I don't want to share the victory, I want to win it. So, if I have to come out the next day and stay overnight, let's do it.
And Ernie Els is set for a carefree Christmas spending spree after winning the Sun City Challenge for the third time in 4 years. He shot a course record 63 to win by 8 and walk away with almost $4 million. Charles Christian, National 9 News.
Russian tennis received a shot in the arm today by winning the Davis Cup for the first time. Mikhail Yuzny defeated France's Paul-Henri Mathieu in the deciding singles. The French coach tried everything to encourage Sébastien Grosjean, but it wasn't enough to stop him losing to Marit Safin. Two 20-year-olds then fought out the fifth rubber. Mathieu's game obviously influenced by Leighton Hewitt. But Yuzny came back from 2 sets down to complete an historic victory in 4.5 hours. And Jim, it's official as of today, Alan Langer has retired from rugby league.
Is it in writing?
He won't be coming back.
Good on you, Ken. After the break, Georgie Gardner with all the weather details.
Coming up, more and more faulty ovens exploding without any warning. Plus, the woman refusing to take out a tongue stud even if it costs her her job. Next.
Good evening. Right now 23 degrees, and as you can see, a beautiful evening in Sydney. A fine and sunny day across Sydney today. The city's temperature peaked at 24, which was 1 down on the average. A fly south over the metropolitan area indicates there wasn't much cloud around and temperatures were generally close to average. Richmond got to 33, a degree cooler at Liverpool. The Central Coast reached 27, as did the Blue Mountains. Tonight's satellite map has some clouds sitting over the centre of the continent. There's a front over Western Victoria that's heading toward New South Wales and should reach the south coast late tomorrow. It'll bring with it the chance of thunderstorms in the southwestern half of the state, but nothing in the way of rain. Then a wind change behind that front will result in cooler temperatures about midweek. To interstate forecasts, and Canberra might get a late thunderstorm. Showers for Melbourne and Hobart, mainly fine for Adelaide, while Perth and Brisbane can both expect fine conditions. Sydney is in for a fine, warm to hot day with freshening nor'west to nor'easterlies. The sun will rise just before 20 to 6 and set at 8 minutes to 8. We can expect a top of 31 in the city, a warm day ahead for the west with temperatures up to 39. Gosford should reach 33 and 29 on the way for Katoomba. The outlook for Wednesday is fine and 28 degrees, then staying fine on Thursday and Friday, just a bit cooler. And as summer officially begins, you might be interested to know, Jim, that Sydney recorded its warmest spring on record.
And dare I say it, the driest.
That's right.
Thanks, Georgie. That's the news this Monday night. I'm Jim Waley. From all of us here at National 9 News, good night.
Third Test match at